The global supply chain is currently undergoing its most significant transformation since the dawn of the industrial age. For decades, we relied on a world that was interconnected, predictable, and remarkably stable. But the events of the last few years have shattered that illusion of permanence. From global pandemics to regional conflicts and the rising costs of traditional energy, the old routes are no longer sufficient. The world is searching for a new anchor, a safe harbor in an increasingly volatile sea, and they have found it on the coastline of Brazil. Brazil is currently completing one of the most ambitious infrastructure projects in its history, a megaport with a natural depth exceeding 20 meters, designed to receive the world's largest vessels. This is not just a port, it is the physical manifestation of a global reset. It is the response to a world that has realized that efficiency without resilience is a dangerous gamble. Today, we will go beyond the headlines to understand why both the United States and China are racing to secure a foothold in this Brazilian gateway. We will explore how this project is relocating the heart of global trade from the north to the south. This is the story of the great supply chain migration and why the future of the world's economy is being built in Brazil. The terminal crisis of traditional logistics hub. To understand why the world is looking at Brazil, we must first look at why the old systems are failing. The port of Rotterdam in the Netherlands has long been the gold standard for global logistics. It is a marvel of human engineering, a massive industrial complex that acts as the primary gateway to the European continent. But Rotterdam is reaching its physical and economic limits. The port is located in one of the most densely populated regions on Earth, making physical expansion almost impossible without astronomical costs. Furthermore, the seabed of the North Sea is shallow and constantly shifting. As shipping lines transition to ultra-large container vessels that carry over 24,000 units, they require extreme depths. Rotterdam must spend billions every year on constant dredging just to keep its channels open. This creates a hidden tax on every product that passes through its gates. Similar crises are unfolding on the U.S. West Coast, where ports like Los Angeles and Long Beach have become symbols of congestion and delay. The global economy is currently suffering from a logistics trap, where the old infrastructure simply cannot keep up with the new scale of trade. The world needs a relief valve, a place where expansion is unlimited and the natural conditions are perfect. This is where Brazil enters the stage. Brazil offers something that Europe and North America can no longer provide: space and natural depth. The shift is not just a choice for global corporations, it is a survival strategy. Brazil's geological destiny, the 20-meter advantage. In the world of maritime trade, depth is the ultimate currency. The location chosen for the Brazilian megaport features a natural depth of over 20 meters. This is a geological miracle that cannot be duplicated by human hands. It allows the largest ships in the world to dock directly, fully loaded, without the need for constant dredging. This natural advantage slashes operational costs and ensures that the port can operate 24/7, regardless of the tide. While other ports are fighting a losing battle against the silt of the ocean floor, Brazil is moving forward. This natural foundation provides a level of reliability that is becoming rare in the global logistics industry. But the vision for this port goes far beyond its deep water berths. The project is designed as a multimodal hub, connecting the heart of the South American continent to the global market. It is the anchor for a massive network of modernized railways, dual carriageway highways, and navigable waterways. This infrastructure is specifically designed to bypass the traditional bottlenecks that have hindered Brazilian growth for decades. For the first time, the vast resources of the Brazilian interior have a direct, high-speed exit to the world. This isn't just a port, it's a bridge between the resource-rich center and the hungry markets of the north and east. The geographical position of Brazil makes it a natural hub for the South Atlantic corridor. From this point, ships can easily reach the United States, Europe, and Africa, creating a balanced trade triangle. This is the foundation of a new maritime hierarchy where Brazil is the indispensable player. China's strategic necessity, the food and resource secure line. For Beijing, the Brazilian megaport is a matter of national survival. China is currently facing a profound challenge: how to feed and power a population of over 1.4 billion people. As China's middle class grows, Its demand for high-quality protein, minerals, and energy is skyrocketing. However, the traditional trade routes from the Middle East and through the Malacca Strait are increasingly vulnerable to geopolitical tensions. Beijing has identified Brazil as its most reliable and strategic long-term partner for resource security. Brazil is a global powerhouse in soy, corn, beef, and iron ore, the very building blocks of the Chinese economy. By investing billions into this megaport through state-owned enterprises like China Merchants Port, Beijing is securing its supply lines. This port acts as a private conveyor belt for Brazilian commodities heading to Chinese factories and dinner tables. Controlling the infrastructure means China can minimize the risk of disruptions and reduce the cost of imports. This is not just a commercial investment. It is a strategic maneuver to ensure the resilience of the Chinese state. Beijing is also exporting its technological standards to Brazil as part of this project. The port is equipped with Chinese-made 5G networks, AI-driven management systems, and automated machinery. This creates a digital ecosystem that is fully compatible with China's broader digital Silk Road. It allows for seamless integration between Brazilian producers and Chinese consumers. But it also gives Beijing an unprecedented level of visibility into the economic heart of South America. For China, Brazil is the ultimate safe haven in a world of rising trade barriers. The megaport is the anchor of this new, unbreakable alliance. America's nearshoring dilemma and the need for regional stability. The United States is currently reevaluating its entire relationship with global trade. The pandemic revealed the dangerous fragility of relying almost exclusively on Asian manufacturing and supply lines. Washington is now actively promoting nearshoring and friendshoring, the idea of moving production and logistics closer to home or to stable allies. Brazil, as the largest economy in the Western Hemisphere after the U.S., is a natural candidate for this strategy. The Brazilian megaport offers the United States a way to diversify its supply chains away from the congested Pacific routes. By utilizing the South Atlantic corridor, American companies can reach the east coast of the U.S. faster and more reliably. This reduces the lead times for critical imports and lowers the overall carbon footprint of global trade. However, Washington is viewing China's deep involvement in this project with increasing concern. The U.S. sees the port as a potential Trojan horse for Chinese influence in the Americas. There are fears that the same infrastructure used for grain and steel could one day support Chinese naval operations. This has created a geopolitical tug-of-war over the future of Brazilian infrastructure. Washington is attempting to counter Chinese influence by offering its own investment packages through the DFC. But for many in Brazil, the American response feels like too little, too late. The U.S. is struggling to match the sheer scale and speed of Chinese state-led capital. Despite this tension, American corporations are still lining up to use the port's facilities. Efficiency often trumps politics in the world of global logistics. The U.S. needs the Brazilian megaport to succeed, even if it dislikes the hands that are building it. Industry 4.0, the brain behind the Brazilian miracle. The Brazilian megaport is not just a pile of concrete and steel, it is a masterpiece of digital engineering. This is a fully automated Industry 4.0 facility. Every aspect of the port's operation is managed by a sophisticated artificial intelligence that optimizes ship movements and container stacking. Robotic cranes move with a precision that human operators could never achieve. Autonomous vehicles transport cargo between terminals, guided by a low-latency 5G network. This level of automation drastically reduces the time a ship spends in port, which is the most expensive part of maritime logistics. By minimizing delays and human error, Brazil is setting a new standard for operational efficiency in the Southern Hemisphere. This technology also allows for real-time tracking and transparency for global clients. An investor in London or a factory manager in Shanghai can track their cargo with millimetric precision. This data-driven approach is what attracts multinational corporations seeking to optimize their just-in-time supply chains. The integration of AI also allows the port to predict and respond to weather patterns or global shipping delays before they happen. It is a smart port that learns and adapts to the changing needs of the global market. However, this technological edge comes with a hidden price. The systems that run the port are largely provided by Chinese technology giants. This has raised questions about data sovereignty and cybersecurity. If the digital brain of your nation's most important trade hub is foreign-made, who truly owns the data? Despite these concerns, the efficiency gains are too large for Brazil to ignore. The port is a living laboratory for the future of logistics, and it is located in the South Atlantic. The multimodal network, connecting the interior to the world. A world-class port is useless if the cargo cannot reach it quickly and cheaply. This is why the Brazilian megaport is being connected to a massive multimodal transport network. The project includes the modernization of thousands of miles of railways that stretch deep into the agricultural heartland of Brazil. New dual-carriageway highways are being built to handle the increased volume of heavy trucks. Perhaps most impressively, the project is leveraging Brazil's vast river systems to create navigable waterways. This allows for the transport of massive amounts of bulk cargo, like soy and ore, at a fraction of the cost of road transport. Technical studies show that this integrated network can reduce total logistics costs for producers by up to 40%. For the agribusiness sector in the Midwest, this is a game changer. It allows them to compete more effectively with producers in the United States and Russia. More importantly, it stabilizes the supply of food to the global market, reducing price volatility. The port acts as the bottleneck breaker for a nation that has long been hindered by poor infrastructure. This multimodal connectivity also encourages industrial development along the transport corridors. New factories and processing plants are being built closer to the railways and waterways, creating a ripple effect of growth. It is a comprehensive national development strategy disguised as a logistics project. Brazil is finally building the circulatory system that its giant economy has always needed. Currency stability and the long-term economic impact. The impact of the megaport on the Brazilian economy goes far beyond the logistics sector. By drastically increasing the efficiency of exports, Brazil is ensuring a consistent inflow of foreign currency, particularly US dollars. This strengthens the national trade balance and provides a buffer for the Brazilian real. A stronger, more stable currency is the best weapon against the inflation that has plagued Brazil for decades. When the currency is stable, the purchasing power of the average citizen increases, and the cost of imported technology drops. This creates a more favorable environment for long-term domestic and foreign investment. The port is also a massive engine for job creation. Tens of thousands of specialized jobs are being created in port operations, logistics management, and adjacent industries. Hundreds of thousands more are created indirectly in the supply chains that feed the port complex. This growth is particularly important for the younger generation of Brazilians seeking high-tech careers. Furthermore, the port attracts energy companies looking for hubs to export renewable energy products like green hydrogen. As the world moves toward a carbon-neutral economy, Brazil's position as a green energy superpower is reinforced by its port infrastructure. The project is the key to a sustainable and diversified economic future for the nation. It is the foundation upon which the new Brazil is being built. The global resilience factor. Why the world cannot wait. Recent global events have taught us a hard lesson about the danger of choke points. The world is currently too dependent on a few narrow straits and a handful of aging ports in the Northern Hemisphere. The South Atlantic corridor offers a wide-open, deep-water alternative that is far less vulnerable to regional conflicts. For global shipping lines, Brazil's megaport is an insurance policy against chaos in other parts of the world. If the Suez Canal is blocked or the Malacca Strait becomes a conflict zone, the South Atlantic route is ready. This diversification is essential for the stability of the global food and energy markets. International investors from Europe, the Middle East, and Asia are putting their capital into Brazil because they see it as a safe haven. They recognize that Brazil has the natural resources, the space, and now the infrastructure to be a global anchor. The megaport is a signal to the world that the Southern Hemisphere is ready to take its place at the center of the global economy. It is a move away from a unipolar world toward a more resilient, multipolar trade system. The success of this project is in the interest of every nation that values economic stability. Brazil is not just building a port for itself, it is building a vital organ for the entire global economic body. The world cannot wait for the old systems to be repaired. It must build new ones. And those new systems are taking shape right now in the South Atlantic. The new maritime hierarchy, winners and losers. As the Brazilian megaport reaches full operational capacity, a new maritime hierarchy is emerging. The winners are the nations and companies that recognize the shift early and invested in the southern route. Brazil is poised to become the logistics superpower of the Southern Hemisphere, a position it has sought for over a century. China has secured its supply lines for the next several decades, a major strategic victory for Beijing. But there are also clear losers in this global reshuffling. Traditional ports in Europe and North America that fail to innovate and adapt will see their influence decline. The legacy systems of the North Atlantic are being challenged by the Industry 4.0 systems of the South. Nations that are overly dependent on a single trade route or a single partner will find themselves increasingly vulnerable. The redistribution of economic power is always a messy and often painful process for those at the top. We are witnessing the end of an era and the beginning of another. The strategic map of the world is being redrawn, and the ink is still wet. The South Atlantic is the new arena where the global economic balance will be decided, and the megaport in Brazil is the center of that arena. Conclusion: the resonance point and the future of the Southern Hub. The era of North Atlantic dominance is quietly but surely fading into history. The rise of the Brazilian megaport is the most significant event in maritime history since the opening of the Panama Canal. It is the physical manifestation of a world that is moving from the north to the south. This is not just about trade, it is about the redistribution of global power and the search for resilience. The South Atlantic is no longer the periphery, it is the new core of a multipolar world. The question for every leader, investor, and citizen is, are you ready for this shift? Brazil has opened the gate, and the world is rushing through it. The silent war for the South Atlantic is over, and the era of the Southern Hub has begun. This megaport is a testament to what is possible when natural advantage meets global ambition. It is a reminder that in the world of trade, geography is still destiny. As the leviathans of the sea dock in these deep Brazilian waters, they are carrying more than just cargo. They are carrying the future of the global economy. If you found this deep dive analysis into the global supply chain valuable, make sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell. We are tracking these tectonic shifts every week so you can stay ahead of a changing world. But before you go, think about the future of your own supply lines. In a world of increasing instability, would you trust your nation's survival to the aging roots of the past or the deep waters of the future? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below as we analyze every perspective to understand the road ahead. Because the choices being made in Brazil today will shape the world your children inherit tomorrow. The South is rising and the tide is only getting stronger. Thank you for watching, and we will see you in the next analysis.